Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Bharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Bharadhari Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Bhanachari Jamuna Tira Bhanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantharashmam Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishiguru and Shigauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonum, Chapter 21, the Gopis glorify the son of Krishna's flute. Text number 9. Gopya kimacharajang kushalan smavenur. Damodaradhara sukham api gopikanam. Bhunte swayam jada vishishta rasan radinyo. Hishatvakos mumuchus tarabo yatarja. Gopyakin acharamajang kushalam smavenur. Damodara dharasudham api gopikanam. Bhunte swajam jadavasistarasam haradinyo. Risyatvakos rumumuchustarabo yatarya. Gopya kim acharadayam kushalan smavenur. Damodara dharasudam api gopikanam. Bhunte swayam jadavasistarasam hradinyo. Vishyattvakos rumumuchustarabo yatarya. Please chant. Gopyaha, O gopis, kim, what? Acharat, perform. Ayam, this. Kushalam, auspicious activities. Sma, certainly. Benuhu, the flute. Damodara, of Krishna. Adhara Shuddham, the nectar of the lips. Api, even. Gopikanam, which is owed to the gopis. Bhungte, enjoys. Swayam, independently. Yat, from which. Abhashishta, remaining. Rasam, the taste only. Hradinyaha, the rivers. Hrisyat, feeling jubilant. Tvachaha, whose bodies. Ashu, tears. Mumuchuhu, shed. Taravaha, the trees. Yatha, exactly like. Aryaha, all forefathers. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and the purport is actually from Srila Prabhupada himself. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant? The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. Purport. This translation is quoted from Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya 16:140. In the guise of releasing flowing sap, the bamboo trees are actually crying tears of ecstasy upon seeing their child become an exalted devotee flute of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Sanatana Goswami gives an alternate explanation. The trees are crying because they are unhappy they are unhappy at not being able to play with Krishna themselves. One may object that the trees in Vrindavan should not lament for that which is impossible for them to obtain, just as a beggar certainly doesn't lament because he is forbidden to meet the king. But the trees are actually just like intelligent persons who suffer when they cannot obtain the goal of life. The trees are crying because they cannot get the nectar of Krishna's lips. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyabadi Pashatyadi Satarine. Vanchakalpa Taruvyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanevya Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. So I read the verse again. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant. The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose banks the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like her on her body. This verse is special because there is an explanation given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on this very exact verse. He actually goes very deep into ecstasy. And this ecstasy has been made available to us by the mercy of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's an ecstasy that is very, what's the word? Intimate. That only was shared with the two most intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya in terms of him revealing this internal mood that he has of Srimati Radharani with Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami and Srila Ramananda Roy. But we have entrance to that due to the grace of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and also to Srila Prabhupada, who brought the Chaitanya Charitamrita to us. So I'm going to read that, and the context of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy. He entered into ecstasy by tasting Krishna Prasadam, Lord Jagannath Prasadam. It is explained that every day Lord Chaitanya will receive Lord Jagannath's Prasadam, and he will sit in close association in Gambhira with Srila Ramananda Roy and Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. And Govinda, his servant, will bring prasadam from Lord Jagannath. And then Lord Chaitanya and his associate would taste the prasadam and will immediately go into this ecstatic internal sort of explosion. And they start to speak and marvel. Well, Lord Chaitanya marvel about not only the beautiful taste, but also the extraordinary fragrance that this prasadam has. And they can understand the different spices and elements that are there. So he can smell, and being able to recognize there is camphor, there is pepper, black pepper, and there is all kinds of combinations of different spices and ingredients, and create this extraordinary fragrance. But actually, we have tasted before. We know how these things are. But this is beyond comprehension, the type of experience that it causes, and the type of the effect that not just the taste, but the fragrance and the appearance causes to the heart. And then Lord Chaitanya's comment that it has to be something very special, and that is special with no doubt is that Krishna's lips have touched this offering and has made it spiritual. So this is the experience of taking Krishna Prasadam. Now we take Krishna Prasadam every day, but we don't have those type of explosions of ecstasy and emotions, and some, appreciation. But Lord Chaitanya is showing us the depth of the spiritual experience of Krishna Prasadam and the association that he sees that because Krishna's lips have touched it, then how this becomes a perfectly spiritual and will create that spiritual experience. So he asked Ramananda Roy, speak about something. Tell me something about, speak about this, about the beauty and the power of Krishna's lips. So I read a little bit about it. So Ramananda Roy speaks a verse, and for some time he glorified both. He glorified the taste and the beauty and the power of Krishna's lips. And then Lord Chaitanya enters into this ecstatic emotion, and he starts to explain those verses. And from the perspective of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. And then after going into details of the power of Krishna's lips, he asked Ramananda Roy again, say something more. And then Ramananda Roy quote this verse, this particular verse. And then Lord Chaitanya explains it. So, let me see. This is Lord Chaitanya speaking. Explaining the previous verses, he said, again, Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Srimati Radharani. My dear Krishna, since you're a male, it is not very extraordinary that the attraction of your lips can disturb the minds of women. But I am ashamed to say that your impudent lips sometimes attract even your flute, which is also considered a male. It likes to drink the nectar of your lips, and thus he also forgets all other tastes. Aside from conscious living beings, even unconscious matter sometimes made conscious by your lips. Therefore, your lips are great magicians. Paradoxically, although your flute is nothing but dry wood, your lips constantly make it drink their nectar. They create a mind and senses in the dry wooden flute and give it transcendental bliss. That flute is a very cunning male who drinks again and again the taste of another male's lips. He advertises its qualities and say to the gopis, quote, "Oh gopis, if you're so proud of being women, come forward and enjoy your property, the nectar of the lips of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Thereupon, the flute say angrily to me, "Give up your shame, fear, and religion, and come drink the lips of Krishna. On that condition, I shall give up my attachment for them. If you do not give up your shame and fear, however, I shall continuously drink the nectar of Krishna's lips. I am slightly fearful because you also have the right to drink that nectar. But as for the others, I consider them like a straw. So, um, from the perspective of Srimati Radharani, when she hears the flute, it is this message: is, come and taste the lips, the nectar of the lips of Sri Krishna. And so this challenge is there. But the flute is only really concerned about Srimati Radharani's competition. The other gopis, he feels he can handle. So there is this sort of, how you say, holding to that opportunity or position to be connected to Krishna in this way. The nectar of Krishna's lips, combined with the vibration of his flute, attracts all people of the three worlds. But if we gopis remain patient out of respect for religious principles, the flute then criticizes us. The nectar of your lips and the vibration of your flute join together to loosen our belts and induce us to give up shame and religion even before our superiors. As is catching us by our hair, they forcibly take us away and deliver us unto you to become your maidservants. Even these incidents, people laugh at us. We have thus become completely subordinate to the flute. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this. As part of this verse, he says, this flute has created a problem for us, causing us an ocean of disgrace. That's the gopis thinking or experiencing all this transcendental love. The flute is nothing but a dry stick of bamboo, but it becomes our master and insults us in so many ways that it forces us into a predicament. What can we do but tolerate it? The mother of a thief cannot cry loudly for justice when the thief is punished. Therefore, we simply remain silent. Such is the policy of these lips. Just consider some other injustices. Everything that touches those lips, including food, drink, or betel, becomes just like nectar. It is then called Krishna Phela, or remnants left by Krishna. Even after much prayers, the demigods themselves cannot obtain even a small portion of the remnants of such food. Just imagine the pride of those remnants. Only a person who have acted piously for many, many births, have thus become a devotee, can obtain the remnants of such food. The betel shoe by Krishna is priceless, and the remnants of such shoe betel from his mouth are said to be the essence of nectar. When the gopis accept these remnants, their mouth becomes his spittoons. Spittoons. I guess that's when you go. Therefore, my dear Krishna, please give up all the tricks you have set up so expertly. Do not try to kill the life of the gopis with the vibration of your flute, because you're joking and laughing. You're becoming responsible for the killing of women. It will be better for you to satisfy us by giving us the charity of the nectar of your lips. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking like this, his mind changed, his anger subsided, but his mental agitation increased. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, this nectar from Krishna's lips is supremely difficult to obtain, but if one gets some, his life becomes successful. When a person competent to drink the nectar does not do so, the shameless person continues his life uselessly. There are persons who are unfit to drink that nectar, but who nevertheless drink it continuously, whereas some who are suitable never get it and thus died of greed. It is therefore to be understood that such an unfit person must have obtained the nectar of Krishna's lips on the strength of some austerity. Again, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Ramananda Roy, please say something. I want to hear. Understanding the situation, Ramananda Roy recited the following words of the gopis. So that's today's verse. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectars of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom what that nectar is actually meant. The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. Upon hearing the recitation of this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became absorbed in ecstatic love, and with a greatly agitated mind, he began to explain its meaning like a madman. Quote, some gopis say to another gopi, just see the astonishing pastimes of Krishna, the son of Brajendra. He will certainly marry all the gopis of Vrindavan. Therefore, the gopis know for certain that the nectar of Krishna's lips is their own property and cannot be enjoyed by anyone else. My dear gopis, fully consider how many pious activities this flute performed in his past life. We do not know what places of pilgrimage he visited, what austerities he performed, what a perfect mantra he chanted. This flute is utterly unfit because it's merely a dead bamboo stick. Moreover, it belongs to the male sex. Yet, this flute is always drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips, which surpasses nectarian sweetness of every description. Only by hoping for that nectar do the gopis continue to live. Although the nectar of Krishna's lips is the absolute property of the gopis, the flute, which is just an insignificant stick, is forcibly drinking that nectar and loudly inviting the gopis to come and drink it also. Just imagine the strength of the flute's austerities and good fortune. Even great devotees drink the nectar of Krishna's lips after the flute has done so. When Krishna takes his bath in universally purifying rivers like the Jamuna and the Ganges of the celestial world, the great personalities of those rivers greedily and jubilantly drink the remnants of the nectarian juice from his lips. Aside from the rivers, the trees standing on the banks like gray ascetics and engaging in welfare activities for all living entities drink that nectar of Krishna's lips by drawing the water from the rivers with their roots. We cannot understand why they drink like that. The trees on the banks of the Jamuna and the Ganges are always jubilant. They appear to be smiling with their flowers and shedding tears in the form of flowing honey. Just as the forefathers of a Vaishnava son or grandson feel transcendental bliss, the trees feel blissful because the flute is a member of the family. The gopis consider the flute is completely unfit for his position. We want to know what kind of austerities the flute executed, so that we may also perform that same austerities. Although the flute is unfit, he is drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips. Seeing this, we qualified gopis are dying of unhappiness. Therefore, we must consider the austerities the flute underwent in his past life. While thus speaking like a madman, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became full of ecstatic emotion in the companies of his two friends, Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy. He sometimes danced, sometimes sang, and sometimes became unconscious in ecstatic love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passes days and nights in this way, expecting the mercy of Swarup, Rupa, Sanatana, Raghunath Das, and taking the lotus feet on my head, I, the most fallen Krishna Das, continue chanting the epic Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is sweeter than the nectar of transcendental bliss. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Yes, sir. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes. Oh, he's speaking like in the mood of Srimati Radharani.
I'm asking who's speaking in the translation of today's verse. But this is Ramananda Roy took this from Bhagavatam.
Correct.
So who is saying, my dear gopis?
In today's verse?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the gopis. This is the song that the gopis were singing.
No. But someone's addressing the gopis. It starts out, my dear gopis.
Well, the way I understood it is that each gopi was telling. They all take turns through the verses verses of the chapter. They're talking to themselves.
So one of the gopis.
Yes, one of the gopis is addressing the other gopis.
Right. Okay.
Like that. And like that, each verse, one gopi will say something, and it's like this. They're singing the glories of Krishna's flute, like that, and the song of Krishna, the song of Krishna's flute.
It's interesting how Lord Chaitanya was very selective about how he would reveal these internal ecstasies.
Yeah.
But yet now we have access to it by Prabhupada's mercy and Krishna's Kaviraj's mercy.
Yeah, it's quite something. Yeah, it's something that we can only do being held by the hand by Srila Prabhupada and the acharyas. Otherwise, how can one understand this? Or taking it a little too casual, or but it's very deep and wonderful. And by the mercy of the acharyas, they make sure that we understand from the proper perspective. So it's quite something that we have access to something like this. I mean, what other system of religion even come close to something like this? Even among Vaishnava traditions, So it's quite extraordinary.
Even though we may not fully understand it, it still it's ecstatic to hear.
Totally. And in one sense, it gives us also this sense of appreciation and and meditation also when we, for example, take Krishna Prasadam. Because of bodily condition and just being conditioned still by material, uh, by this material concept of life, these sort of regular activities like eating, we just do it automatically, and sometimes don't stop to carefully meditate about how special it is. How everything, actually, everything that we do in Krishna consciousness is I mean, the narrations of these narrations of the passings of Sri Chaitanya, every single thing that they do, it arises this ecstatic, loving emotions, and they, enter into the ecstasy just by tasting Krishna Prasadam. Imagine, and appreciating that. So we can sort of also appreciate how special it is. At least that.
Yeah, when Prabhupada would honor prasadam, he would really honor it. It was the descriptions that his servants give of how he would just sit by himself in a real meditative way, very slowly and devotionally honor the prasadam.
Yes. Yeah. So all these ecstatic discussions on Krishna's lips, and that came from that. Just Sri Chaitanya and his associates just tasting the prasadam, appreciating the prasadam from Lord Jagannath.
And the associates also experienced the ecstasy.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of like an invitation to us, go to Puri and honor prasadam in the right mood.
Yeah. Difficult to comprehend. This whole idea of what Lord Chaitanya has bring to us, the opportunity to enter into Goloka Vrindavan and to serve, in that Vrindavan, mood, have access to all this. This is just very difficult to comprehend.
But yet we have to bear in mind that this is the goal.
Yes.
Right? As we do our Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti.
Yeah.
And ultimately this is our destination if we remain steadfast in our devotional service.
Well, just to have entrance to this, whose heart is not attracted? I mean, like you hear these things and there's something happens in your heart, and you just, there's such a beauty. We were so attracted naturally by love and by relationship, by loving relationship, and this is like the ultimate, you know. In general, at least for me, when it gets this sort of from the mundane in the material world, these mundane expressions of romance and love is always very tacky for me. I'm not a fan of those things. I'm not a fan. For me, it's always like this, sticky, a little tacky stuff, that is, the Bollywood thing and all that sort of romance. Doesn't do anything for me but like, oh, come on, But this It's like these expressions of it's so pure and so I mean it's very attractive. It's very beautiful. And who doesn't want to be? I mean, you become is that sort of call also to yes, come. It's like this narration. The gopis are feeling the flute is just telling them, come and taste. You also come. And if you don't come, then I will take it all myself. It's like that. So, we've been constantly giving that call. Srila Prabhupada and the acharyas, like, come.
Even though you were mentioning a change of heart that you experience in just reading it, but that's that taste, which is another way of describing it, is that's equivalent to faith. It really builds the faith when we get these kind of transcendental experiences, even though it may be beyond the conceptions of our materially conditioned minds and intellect, but the taste is there. And
Yes.
so this enables us to be enthusiastic and endeavor with confidence and be patient with the process because we know this is what will come.
Yeah, that is a fact. That is the faith that is given by the devotees. So we were riding on the devotees' mercy into this.
Say it again?
That what you said is quite right.
Yeah.
That faith is that faith, that allows to receive this and to appreciate it.
But the faith is intertwined with the taste. In other
Yes.
words, when we get the taste, when we feel the bliss, then, oh, this is the real thing.
Yes. And as this faith develops, then, it becomes a much more greater experience,
Much more?
When that faith continues to grow and develop. So the whole process of the process of how you say the 9 levels of devotional service is a development of Shraddha. So Shraddha of faith continues to grow as we go from level to level.
Right.
Yeah. And then the experience obviously becomes, much more open and clear. Alex.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhu, the narration was really beautiful. I had a question. In the you're reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it sounded like the word religion had come up once or twice, and it sounded like they were almost encouraging to like discard religion. I didn't understand it. It was brought up a few times. I was wondering if you caught that.
Yes, it's from the perspective of the gopis that they were basically forced to discard all conventions, all principles, social principles and social codes of religion. So, some of them were married, some of them were singles, so they were protected by their parents. Not, that all of a sudden they run into the middle of the night. So, so they actually, in one sense, you're saying their predicament. They're forcibly forced by the sound of the flute to abandon all conventions and religious principles and things like that. And in fact, the flute is telling them, just give up all that stuff and come and taste the nectar of Krishna's lips. Otherwise, I take it all, like that. So that's the extraordinary thing that we give in entrance, at least how I understand it, is that from the perspective of this is how the gopis are processing all this. That's how, and, we have to be very mindful of the background that is, so we don't fall into sahaja, taking all this, cheaply, and then, so what is mean, that religious principles are not important, we can just engage in some, loving connection with Krishna. The context is here that these are the highest, most elevated devotees of Krishna. And at the end, is in one sense is also, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, to all devotees, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, just abandon all religions and just take the supreme religion, which is just Him. Mam ekam sharanam braja. So that supreme religion is nothing but, this param dharma, full dedication, devotion to Krishna.
But for instance, the 6 Goswamis who entered into this level of ecstasy, they were very strict sadhakas. And so this is in Gaur Lila, like Sanatana Goswami, and then in Krishna Lila, who? I can't remember. But there's different, they were manjaris in Krishna Lila. So they had this internal ecstasy and meditation, but yet in their Gaur Lila, and that continued even though they're sadhakas, but the internal meditation was very deep and ecstatic and free from all boundaries, just very deep, loving exchanges. Yes. I think that's the understanding. Yeah. And so that all of those teachings and the example that the 6 Goswamis left was pretty much obscured by the Prakrita Sahajiyas. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur almost single-handedly resurrected that. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur promulgated it. And, really went after the Smarta Brahmanas and the Prakrita Sahajiyas. Very... what was it? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was sometimes referred to as a Singha Guru, yes, right? Because he was so ferocious in dealing with the deviants. They wouldn't even, if they saw him on the street, they would walk the other way because they knew he would blast them.
One thing that you can attribute to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and to Srila Prabhupada is that they basically shielded the generations of Gaudiya Vaishnavas from the dangers of, taking to sahajas or that type of thing. They were very strict and shielded it. Right. So our focus from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada is we remain just as they did, externally, just as you say, even in the levels of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, they remained, like Paka Sadhakas. Yeah. And that's till the end.
Right. So that's the proper understanding, of how to proceed with this. And the internal meditation may become very intimate.
Yes.
Because that's something, because the Prakrita Sahajiyas is like an ego trip they're on. Yeah. They're showing off, look how advanced I am. And then many of them would, I remember in the early days when I went to Vrindavan, you'd see men dressed up as gopis. playing this whole phantasmagoric game.
Or you have situations of people getting, Vaishnavas getting into this, into the Babaji, sort of internal reclusive meditation, and somehow or other getting unqualified people to do that in an untimely manner, and then create this great disturbance because it's not in that level. So it's taking it cheaply that you can actually go and just meditate on your Siddha Swarupos, things like that. So because of the propensities that are here in Kali Yuga and this, then these amazing, Vaishnavacharyas, they shielded, they have directed things properly.
Yeah.
We have to follow Srila Prabhupada's example. All right, I think I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much. I hope it was nice. Grantarashimam Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Gaura Premanandi. Sadhu.